Welcome to the Cricket Happening Show, dear friends and subscribers. Well, on this Cricket Happening Show, it is going to be a preview of the second test match which is coming up between Pakistan and Australia. That is going to be played tomorrow in Abu Dhabi. So I'm going to do a brief preview of that match. And as you know, tomorrow is, this is just a two test match series. As you know, Pakistan won the match in a very wonderful manner with their spinners really ruling the roost. The Abu Dhabi pitch, I'm sure it would be something that will turn, but probably what one has to see is whether the turn is going to be as pronounced as what it was in Dubai. One thing that this particular second test match is, it's a two test series, so tomorrow there's only one route for Australia, and that is to win the test match. If at all they lose this test match, then this would be something that Pakistan would be really proud of, because Pakistan would be defeating Australia after a gap of 20 years in a test series, and there is quite a long time. Last time that happened, that Pakistan actually defeated Australia, that was happening, this was in a home match where Pakistan were taking on Australia in Lahore, and that was back in 1994. That particular match was drawn and Pakistan won the series 1-0 against Australia way back in 1994. So it's 20 years since Pakistan have never won against Australia in a test series. So Pakistan would be hoping to do that. For Pakistan, they have nothing to really lose, in the sense they have just nothing to really lose, because they have already taken they're already leading 1-0. The only thing that they would like to avoid is not allow Australia to get a win, because if Australia wins, then the test series will be shared, and also, as I said, for Pakistan, it's a chance for them to make a clean sweep of this two test series. If at all they could do it tomorrow against Australia in Abu Dhabi, that is in this test match in Abu Dhabi, then for Pakistan, they would have, as I said, they would have had a win over Australia in a test series after a gap of 20 years. So 20 years is quite a gap, and I'm sure Pakistan would be ready to go. But Australia, let me tell you, they would have learned their lessons. Already we see that to learn how to play spin, the Indian maestro Rahul Dravid had actually put on a message where how he was doing while he was taking spinners, and that is to take off the pads and play your spinners at the nets. And that's something that Michael Clarke has definitely taken to it, and what he has done, he has borrowed that from Rahul Dravid by actually, I understand that right now, that is in the net sessions, Michael Clarke and certain other players have decided that they will take off their no pads, and actually play the spinners. So they would be probably playing Nathan Lyon and Steve O'Keefe, and what it does is that it definitely so basically you're not using the pad against the spinners, so basically your technique improves as you get closer to the ball with your bat. So that's what the message was from Rahul Dravid, and in fact Michael Clarke has definitely given that a lot of importance, and he has really put that into practice in the net sessions which are going on, where they have their net practice. So let's look at the match that is coming up tomorrow, the second test between Australia and Pakistan, and let's look at what's happened. As I said, let's look at Australia, because Australia are the ones under pressure, and for them the only thing on their mind would be how are they going to combat the spinners, Pakistan spinners, who actually Pakistan doing a great job in the absence of Saeed Ajmal. Just imagining that if Saeed Ajmal would have been there, what would have been the case, because such an experienced bowler. Zulfikar Babar is I wouldn't say his experience, is just come into the Pakistan test team, and in fact Yasir Shah, the right arm batsman, was pretty impressive, and has been really commended by both the teams by saying that Yasir Shah is someone for the future. And Yasir Shah and Zulfikar Babar operating in tandem really made rapid inroads into the Australian batting lineup, and their technique was found wanting. Now, what is Australia going to do? Let's look at that. Now, Chris Rogers and David Warner. David Warner definitely in some good form, and he's shown that he can play spin well, and he's not the one to really budge an inch, because for him, if at all he feels that the ball is not turning or anything of the sort, David Warner would like to attack, and that's what he precisely does. Chris Rogers, well, he has definitely been struggling against spin, but I thought he was trying to put up a brave face in the midst of the spinners operating, and I thought he did a good job, but he couldn't go on to a big innings. So probably whether this would be a chance for actually Chris Rogers to really show that he can play spin well, and probably I'm sure Chris Rogers would have done a lot of exercises against the spinners to really put his best foot forward here, as Australia definitely needs that. An opening partnership is something very important in test matches, and if at all Rogers along with David Warner could chisel together an opening partnership, that would augur well for them. Alex Doolan was one who was a total failure in the first test match, but Michael Clarke, the Australian captain, feels that Alex Doolan can definitely come good, because he said that he scored a century against the Pakistani A team. So Alex Doolan, it would be interesting to see how Alex Doolan shapes up and what he has learned from the first test match. Michael Clarke, the captain, well, he didn't have a good game at all, and as I said, he's the best player of spin in Australia, and if Michael Clarke can get his bearings right, I'm sure this Australian team would look pretty different from what it was in the first test match. Steve Smith definitely contributed. He definitely understood the needs of the game, and he definitely did a fine job. He's the other player who is the another good player of spin after Michael Clarke, according to me, in this Australian lineup. And Steve Smith, well, he's a wonderful live wire in the field. He's a useful bowler, but his batting is also something which has really matured beyond the ages now, and he's definitely one that Pakistan would feel that if they could get his wicket pretty quickly, that would really matter for them. Mitchell Marsh found out that on his test debut, on his test debut, that he was really caught on a pitch which was really turning. So, but Mitchell Marsh, I'm sure, would have been battle-hardened by that, and I'm sure his dad, Jeff Marsh, the former Australian cricket player, would have given a lot of tips to Mitchell Marsh, and probably one would be seeing that in full focus against when Mitchell Marsh actually comes to bat against Pakistan in the second test match. Brad Haddin, the wicketkeeper, as good as ever, and his batting is something which is always pretty useful, because even though he didn't have a good game in the previous match, I thought he is the one who would definitely chip in with some good scores in the test matches, and he can also be called a crisis man. So it will be good to see how Brad Haddin shapes up. The bowling, well, as I said, Mitchell Johnson definitely in the first innings against Pakistan, he bowled tremendously well on the first day. That was the only time that Australia dominated proceedings on the first day. After that, it was all about the Pakistanis dominating. Mitchell Johnson would definitely try to fire on all cylinders, because, as I said, for Australia, this is a very important test match, because if they win, they draw the series. If they lose the series. So basically, Mitchell Johnson would be somebody who has to do all the bulwark of bowling. Peter Siddle, well, he has been in good company with Mitchell Johnson, bowling in tandem with him, and Peter Siddle has also been found good in the sense he has been pretty impressive with his bowling. He has been bowling in the right areas and also getting wickets. Now the spinners were the ones, compared to the Pakistani spinners, the Australian spinners were not so effective as as would have liked it to be. So it would be interesting to see whether Steve O'Keefe and Nathan Lyon, how they present themselves. Do they have some change of approach against the Pakistani batsmen? It would be pretty interesting to watch. But Steve O'Keefe has definitely shown that he's looking a very, very promising prospect as far as Test matches are concerned. He also picked up some wicket. Nathan Lyon, as usual, has been bowling pretty well. So that is as far as the Australian team is concerned. Now let's have a look whether Australia is going to make any changes. That would be something to see whether they would, because one does not know. Well, they say that the Abu Dhabi pitch is going to be dry. When the pitch is dry, definitely the spinners definitely come into the equation. Whether it is going to be as dry as what it was in Dubai. Well, if that's the case, then I think they would probably stick with the same combination. If not, then they would probably like to drop Steve O'Keefe and probably induct either Ben Hilfenhaus or Mitchell Starc into the mix. Well, that remains to be seen. Let's look at Pakistan. For Pakistan, well, they definitely had a very good win. There were good contributions, said, as Misbah ul Haq, the Pakistan captain, said at the post-press match conference after the victory that he thought it was a total team effort. Yes, it was. It was a combined batting bowling effort from Pakistan. Ahmed Shahzad, well, he looked pretty good with a century under his belt in the first Test match. Mohammad Hafiz is the one who is under pressure because he failed in both innings. He would be under pressure, as Tawfiq Ahmad is another opener who is there in the reserves. And if Mohammad Hafiz, and I'm sure Mohammad Hafiz might get an opportunity tomorrow in Abu Dhabi, the reason being that this is, since Pakistan have won, Pakistan would have the probably have the luxury of having Mohammad Hafiz because of his experience. Azhar Ali, well, he played pretty well. We all know what a technically proficient batsman he is. Yunus Khan, what to say about Yunus Khan? I mean, he came like a real wave for Pakistan to score twin hundreds against Australia, and he was the chief architect of this Pakistan's win in the first Test against Australia. He came in when the chips were down and picked it up, and then went on to score a second century too. So Yunus Khan is in great form here. Misbah ul Haq is another player who is also looking good, and confidence. I mean, I would say confidence breeds motivation, breeds confidence, and confidence gets reflected into your results. So Misbah ul Haq is someone who would really take that. Asad Shafiq played a wonderful knock, as you know. So he was also looking, I mean, he played his part in an admirable manner, even though he missed his century. His 89 was something which was definitely well crafted. And then Sarfraz Ahmed. Now Sarfraz Ahmed has he's already shown, I mean, proved himself. He came in and picked up a century in the first Test match. This is his maiden century. So he is someone who Australia would be definitely wary of. And then we look at the bowling. The bowling, well, one thought that the pace bowling department before the Test match started, one thought it was pretty weak. But let me tell you, even in the absence of Junaid Khan and Wahab Riaz, I thought these Pakistani bowlers, they definitely deserve a lot of credit. Rahat Ali with his very good bowling. In fact, he was getting some pretty good reverse swing, and he was really worrying the batsmen. It was good to see that Rahat Ali, I think of last I've seen him, I think Rahat Ali has definitely improved with his bowling. Imran Khan on his debut was looking pretty impressive too. And then the spinners. So it was all about the spinners as far as Pakistan was concerned, with Zulfikar Babar really getting his maiden 5-wicket haul in the first Test. So he would be he would be someone who would definitely like to do the same against Australia. Yasir Shah, as I said, he has been getting good support. He has been commended for his efforts on his debut because they feel that Yasir Shah is someone who is having some lot of variations. He bowls pretty well, and for leg spinner it is very important that you bowl accurately, and that is something that Yasir Shah has done it to a real nicety, I would say. And it would be good to see that Yasir Shah now already, the first test, one could understand that if any player plays his first test match, it is not easy even for a spinner, and Yasir Shah would like to take the confidence into the second test match and try to see what are the other things that you could do here, and probably come up trumps against Australia. So I think all in all, we are looking forward to a wonderful match which is going to be coming. But as I said, all eyes will be on this match to see whether Pakistan, after a gap of 21 years, after a gap of 20 years, can get the first Test series win against Australia. And for Australia, well, they are the ones who are going to definitely thwart the bid from Pakistan and see to it that they at least try to get a win and square the series and prevent Pakistan from getting a series win in this particular Test series. Well, as I said, it's an interesting match that is coming up tomorrow in the second Test in Abu Dhabi, and I'll be there to relay my match report on the first day's play of this particular Test match in my cricket afternoon show tomorrow. Well, before I go now, just one more thing that I would like to say. As you know, Sri Lanka are going to be in India playing a series of 5 one-day internationals. The first one-day international is starting on 2nd of November, but tomorrow, as I said, Sri Lanka, today is 29th, so they definitely would have landed in India, and tomorrow they are going to play their first tour game, and that is going to be against the India A team, which is going to take on the Sri Lankans. That is going to be played at the Brabant Stadium here in Mumbai, and the Sri Lankan captain feels that this tour is going to be pretty tough. And let me tell you, Sri Lanka are definitely crippled because they don't have their live wire bowler Lasith Malinga, their main strike bowler, and also there is no Rangana Herath, the left arm spinner, the wily and experienced left arm spinner. And I think for Sri Lanka, it's all about getting to see how the reserve talent that they have in the team is shaping up, especially considering that the World Cup 2015 is round the corner. But I think it is going to be a good contest. Sri Lankans can't be taken on lightly just because they don't have Lasith Malinga and Herath, and I'm sure the Indians also know about it, and I think that is going to be a sort of a cracker of a contest between India and Sri Lanka in the 5 one-day international series. Well, dear fans and subscribers, on this note, it is time to conclude my Cricket Happening show for today. Hope you enjoyed my conversation, and we will see you tomorrow. Until then, it's goodbye from Host Ram Studios. Thank you.